Hello, everybody. I wanted to check out this MSNBC analyst who is basically just telling black and Latino voters to just go vote for Joe Biden blindly. Just go vote for him because the Donald Trump presidency would be a disaster. And then we're going to check out some polling, which has the Democrats shaking in their boots. Let's check it out.
It is not the concern about African American voters, young voters, and Hispanic voters, like these core elements of the Democratic coalition. The concern is not that anybody really thinks they're going to go flock off to Donald Trump. The concern is that they stay home. That in a very close election in all of those battleground states, if a large chunk of any of those parts of the coalition decide to just say, screw it, I'm not going to vote, that's a problem for the Biden campaign. The upside there, to your point, Joe, is you're not trying to persuade them in a lot of cases to come back to Joe Biden. You're just trying to persuade them to do what they did in 2020 and to realize the stakes and what a devastating outcome it would be for their interests, for the interests of young voters, the pocketbook interests. They are focused more on the economy than they are on Gaza. We see that in the polling for African American and Latino voters that a Trump presidency, Trump reelection would be terrible for them. So just please do.
How would it be terrible for them? Here we go with the fear mongering nonsense. I want him to explain exactly how a Trump presidency would be terrible for black and Latino voters. He's not going to give you any reason because he just wants you to listen to him and just go vote for Joe Biden for no reason, just because he doesn't like Trump. Now, how is that possible that it's better for their pocketbook to vote for Joe Biden when collectively Joe Biden inflation has gone up 19% under Joe Biden? In 4 years under Trump, it was up about 7.6%. And then when Trump left office, year over year, inflation was 1.4%. So how is it better for them now to vote for Joe Biden than it is to vote for Trump? Gas was a little over $2 a gallon when Trump left office. And then now it's what, 350, 360 a gallon? This guy's a clown.
Do what you did from the Biden campaign's point of view. Just do what you did back in 2020. You're right. That is the easier sell than trying to get older white voters who have drifted away from the Democratic coalition over the last 20 years to come back home. Those guys are sticking with Biden, and that's a big part of why they can be optimistic in those three Midwestern states.
Just do what you did in 2020. Just do what you did. That's it. All right, let's check out some polling data, which is very good for Trump.
Softening in the polling. Show us why the Biden campaign is worried.
Why are they worried? I mean, take a look at the numbers now and compare it to where we were 4 years ago at this particular point among black voters. And we see a clear decline in support. At this point, Joe Biden's just getting 70% of the black vote. 4 years ago at this point, he was at 81%. Look at that doubling of support for Donald Trump from 10% up to 21%. Boris, Brianna, if that held through the election, it would be the best performance.
So it's like that. It's that like 10%, 11% drop for Biden, 11% gain for Trump. It's really good.
Performance for Republican presidential candidate among black voters in 64 years since Richard Nixon back in 1960. Now, if you want to break down the black electorate and figure out where exactly is this declining support for Joe Biden coming from, take a look at this age breakdown. Look here. If you look at those black voters age 50 and over, they're still overwhelmingly supporting Joe Biden. Look at that, 85% to 8%. But look at black voters under the age of 50. Donald Trump, in a recent average of polls, is getting, get this, 27% support from them. Joe Biden at just 64%. So, we were talking about, you heard that interview, can't treat black voters as a monolith. This age breakdown shows it. It shows that younger black voters are far less supportive of the president than older black voters are.
Yeah, that.
I'm not surprised by that because, as you saw at the rally in the Bronx, a lot of black and Latino voters in that age group were there in support of the 45th president, and a lot of older, 50-year-old plus black voters are stuck in their ways. I know some personally. They're just stuck in their ways, vote Democrat because that's what their family did, or that's what they've been told their whole life. They watch CNN, they pay attention to the mainstream media, and they just think that Republicans are the big bad the big bad guys. That's it. So that's why they keep voting for Democrats, and they're not going to change. But the younger age group from 18 to 49 is much more persuadable.
That is huge, that number there. What kind of impact are we talking about? What kind of impact could this have on the election, Harry?
Yeah, you know, obviously those are national polls. But let's say that we funneled this down to the state level, right? This declining level of support among black voters for Joe Biden. What type of damage would that do to him in the Electoral College? Well, if you just took that into account and you didn't shift any other voters, take a look here in 2020, based upon the current apportionment, Joe Biden would win 303 electoral votes to Donald Trump's 235. But take into account that shift among black voters. Now, with just this shift among black voters, Donald Trump wins in the Electoral College, 291 electoral votes to 247. Why is that? Take a look at the states that shift. You would see that the states that shift are Arizona, Georgia, Pennsylvania, where Kevin is right now, and Wisconsin. That alone would do it, and that is why black voters are so pivotal to Joe Biden's chances to win re-election.
Harry Enton, alarms going off on the Democratic side. A big opening for Republicans. That is an alarm right there, Harry Enton.
Absolutely. It's a huge alarm. It's spiraling. It's ambulance. It's police sirens. It's any alarm you can think of. That should be what's going off on the Democratic side. These numbers, to be honest, could be deadly to Joe Biden's campaign.
And he's absolutely right. It could be very deadly to Joe Biden's campaign as black voters and Latino voters. Look, Trump received about, 30, low 30s, mid 30s percentage-wise from Latinos in 2020. And black vote percentage was about 12%. And that was compared to 8% in 2016. Imagine if, no, look, okay, well, I'm not going to talk about shenanigans right now, but if you go from 12% to 20%, it's game over. I mean, that is a huge shift. I would love for him to get 25, 30% of the black vote. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he has a much better chance of getting closer to 50% from the Hispanic vote this time around. Black vote, if we can get 20%, that would be fantastic and a step in the right direction. And we're seeing this more and more. Like I said, the Bronx rally, and Trump is really going after certain demographics this time around to gain support because he knows he's going to need it everywhere he can. As we saw, he went to the Libertarian Conference, went to the Bronx, as I just said, and he's targeting groups that would not likely vote for him. And I think that is absolutely huge. He went to Minnesota to do a campaign in Minnesota, blue Minnesota, to try to win that state. Whoever's in charge of his campaign this time around is doing a fantastic job. And these numbers are great for Trump. And I think we're going to see a jump in his vote share of the black vote this time around. It's anybody's guess. Could be 15%. It could be 20%. We may be surprised and see 25%. I don't know. I'm just saying the way things are playing out right now, I think it's a good chance he gets 15+%. Hoping it's much higher than that. But we'll see what happens. All right, guys. I thought I'd share that with you. How these Democrats, like the guy I just showed you the first time, MSDNC strategist or analyst, is just telling people, minorities, to go vote for. Don't use your brain. Don't use your judgment on that. Don't look at your pocketbook because Trump is the bad guy. Despite all the high inflation and the open borders, just go vote for Joe Biden. Just do what you did in 2020 and go vote for him. Yeah. See how they take us for granted? Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe. See you next time. Thank you. Take care.